If you ever wondered how to make a product video, here's your chance. So take a good look and enjoy. It's entirely recorded via a Skype screen share and it's maybe a bit long in between, but I don't want to edit it too much so you get kind of an in-depth view of how we work. So here it comes.
Hello, my name is Chao. I'm a 3D artist.
And my name is George and I did the compositing for the project. And the client wanted a product demonstration where you see the different features about the product. For example, that you can change the ear pads as you see now, and you also can wash them. So that's a dynamic animation, and we show you how we did that.
So basically, this is a product we got from Miigo. It's a very unique design, and with two different sets of ear pads for different situations. The requirement from them is basically they want to really present this kind of character feature of their special earphone and two sets of ear pads and other character like. So what now you can see is the 3D wireframe image of the model we made. Now you can clearly tell the geometry, how it's distributed. And after it gets rendering with texturing, everything finished, it looks like this. It's a really photorealistic, and that's what we are going to present as a final delivery. Normally, when people want to have 3D model out of scratch, we need something as a reference. For example, here, the images of the product or the real model as a sample, and when we can do the 3D scan out of it and get the 3D scan model. For the image part, this kind of beautiful image is good, but actually we would also prefer images like this blueprints with all the side view, front view, top view. That would be even more helpful. So let's move to the modeling process. Here is actually the example to show how we start the basic first pass, we call block out. So here is the image. We use the image as a reference plane, and then we start to build up the shape according to the image plane. This is a simple model base, and afterwards we go for details and a more polished version of it. As we mentioned earlier, 3D scanned model is a great help in this case. Here we can see this is actually what we get from the product in our hand. We made a 3D scan out of it. You can really tell the detail of all the parts, how thick it is, and all the volume which you cannot get from simple images. And with this as reference, then we actually slowly to build up every small details and really according to this 3D reference model. And we have all these curves and width and volume strictly follow the scanned model. So in the end, we will coming out really like a very close, accurate 3D model out of it. Of course, you need more accuracy and more feature. You still need the second important part, the texturing part. Here we can see we actually already finished the texturing. All the material here included metal, included this matte plastic surface. This one basically pretty much is leather-like material, and the second pair of ear pad is sports pad, the nets with a sponge inside this kind of material. So basically all the basic material is very straightforward. I think the most complicated material is our ear pad. I can show you the final result, what we have, the leather pad and the sports pad. So sports pad basically is a most complicated one, which has multi-layers combined, which has this nets combined, which has inside has the sponge color also purposely made in. And also here the logo L and R is also double layer, which means has one layer of a normal fabric and another layer is all the graphics on top of it. After the texturing, then basically the whole modeling process is finished. Then we come into the animation stage. But before the real animation starts, normally people need to do some simple rigging for it. So it depends on what kind of movement this project need. So you can rig as what you like. For example, here we have our earphone. We're flying around and turn around. And also we'll have a certain movement of the ear pad. That's why all this rigging, all this assistant curves, they are helping for all the final animation. So you can basically move around with it. You can rotation with it. You can even have the second rotation. So, for example, when you have this kind of okay, hold on. When you have this one cannot, can only one. Okay. I see. Okay. So you can have actually a lot of like rotation like this already, but in the same time, you don't want to destroy its movement. You even want to rotation just along the y-axis like this. So you have to really carefully plan how you do all the animation rigging. And also you can control how your ear pad is. So pretty much you can have maybe I want to turn off all the ear pads. I see the inner structure. I have maybe another ear pad on, which is my actually sports ear pad on. So everything needed is rigged.
Awesome, really, really great. So it's a really useful workflow because you can don't have that much stress when you do the actual animation.
Everything is exactly. Well. And also easy to find where you need to do the keyframing, because if you really everything directly on the object, that means every time you have to keyframe this, you have to go to here, and keyframe that, you have to go to here, and if you keyframe this, you have to go to here. So every part, then you have to find the place to keyframe, and sometimes you click wrongly and something is wrong. So all this rigging helps you to find the keyframe value immediately. So you just do this and you just make keyframe, go to another frame, then you make another keyframe, and everything is moving.
Really awesome, great. Should we continue to show just briefly how the animation works? Maybe show some motion graphs?
Yeah, this one. Okay, then we see how in the end the animation looks like. Wait. Okay. I better go for the animation view. Where's my animation view? Okay.
I want to see motion graphs. I want to see
motion graphs. Then we have to select the motion graphs.
Yes.
So basically later you will see all this. So I play this easier. So this is pretty much the final result of our animation with all the adjustment to the storyline or storyboard we want to present.
Yeah, it always started like that's what I did actually that's one of the few things I did in the project, to draw the storyboard and to just have to think about the different shots. It actually are 11 different shots that kind of should blend together well, so you have a nice, it's not really, I think you always have a story even there where you show the earphone. What you may recognize is that it's always every shot is a bit different. It usually works that you have always a close up and then a wider angle. So for example here it goes, and that's the part where you will see the dynamic animation that we left out because that was a bit different to do. Maybe we can show the dynamic animation, how it looks like in the software with the particles.
Now here coming to the dynamic animation part, which actually in our project we need some shots to present the idea of washable ear pad. So what we want to do is actually this simple but beautiful ear pad drop into water shots. And we're using simulation software like this, and then with certain calculation and also a setup, then coming out what you can see here, which basically is a physically accurate result of things drop into water. And after the calculation is done, we come into the stage of the rendering out all the dynamic result. Like this. So this is the testing result of what we get. This here is pretty much, you can see the clear water flash and all the waves.
Splash? You said flash?
Flash?
You
Splash.
Splash, yeah.
Splash. Entschuldigung.
No problem.
Do we need to retake again?
Maybe the last part, and here's
okay.
just the part we can edit.
Okay, then here is the rendering image from our dynamic simulation result. Here you can clearly see the combined efforts of the ear pad and in the water, and here is a splash coming out from the dynamic simulation.
Yeah, and we also made sure that it looked realistic, because you need to sense of the weight of the object and the how is this called, like the mass as a ratio to the volume. Because if it was, let's say, if it was an object made of a very heavy material, then the splash would be more. So we try to keep it kind of low, because obviously these ear pads are not very heavy. So there was something we kept, we had it on the back of our mind to have kind of a subtle splash and not a really big splash, because it wouldn't fit there.
Yeah.
I want to tell that, because it was the first version we had a really big splash, and I thought, oh, like, this looks really funny.
Yeah, but really good actually.
Yeah, it
dramatic, but looks cute.
It looked really funny, but now it looks really. I think now this is a really realistic version. Okay, yeah. Awesome. We go to the next part.
Yeah, now we come into the final stage in the 3D production of this project, which is a lighting, shading, and rendering. So in this project, we pretty much, for visualization, we use a classic studio light setup, which means normally it's a 3-point light setup, one key light, one fill light, and one kick light or ring light. And another add-on light in our case is this doom light. Doom light, basically we're using an HDR image, which here you can see is basically all the background image of this kind of like a 3D room. Then all the reflection, all the highlights from the top will pretty much be reflected on the object of our product and generate beautiful highlights.
So I hope you enjoy our presentation. I edited something out that was the 3-point light and the rendering, because it was a bit long, and you probably have heard about 3-point lighting, and it was not. I thought it was not so interesting. But anyway, we are at the end of our presentation. So the last thing will be the compositing, which I did, and I hope you enjoyed. So now what you see is all the passes combined from the animation and the rendering, and that part is actually equally important to the 3D rendering and the animation, because now you actually can give the image the final look, and you can control a lot of things. So what we obviously have here is it's a render image with the 2 different headphones. They had one version that's just black headphones, and then one with that rose gold part. And what I want to show you here is, because we're talking about the lights before, for example, the key light. And the main light here is the key light, obviously. It comes from the left, and it makes the image, gives basically the direction of the light. So here is the brightest part, and that's obviously where people look at. But also here we have another part of the image where the eye is basically, where the focus is, where people look at. So for example, if the client says, hey, we want the light to be more warm, we can go into the right subcomp where we have the different lights. So what I did here was I made the key light more cold on purpose, and I will just deselect it, and then you see it gets more warm again, and we'll also do that with the fill light and with the kick light. And now if we go back to the main comp, we see everything is basically very warm right now. And I also will now use the different backgrounds. So yeah, that's basically how it looks like. And what I want to show you is, of course, we can make something more obvious. So we can make the whole background a bit brighter. And if we want, of course, we can give it also a completely different color.
Actually, I would taking away the gradient.
Yeah, okay, I do that.
The gradient is not really looks nice in terms of true color.
Yeah, that is true. So what I'm doing here now is to... Oops. So that's white. That obviously looks very bad right now. So you want to have a blue color. What's the best?
You try the blue, dark blue.
Yeah, maybe I make it just a new solid, and I make get into the blue, and we got maybe into that area where it's really dark blue. So we can of course change the.
Yeah, looks not bad.
Yeah, don't like it that much. No.
But you can really give it bright color. I mean, it's a spotty, so. It's kind of like a lot of life energy.
Yeah, that's true. Wait, let us make a new...
Maybe a little bit higher saturation side, because this one is a really low saturation color.
Yeah, I would so get more saturated and get the value, also more higher value of color. Maybe something like...
Try
how it looks like.
Yeah.
So, it's on top of the... So obviously we had to adjust now the lights. Now we can do that briefly. So we will go to the lights, and now we make the lights again more blue, but even more blue. We and take out some of the green also. Maybe like this. And see how this works. So it's already better.
Yeah, it's better.
Of course, you can give it more time, and then you can also have a better result. There's if I did that, obviously the lighting was based on having the black background right now, so that would require a lot of work to make this actually work. And yeah, but it could definitely work. So you would have to make everything basically much brighter. I can try something right now. So.
But anyway, it's not need to physical accurate, because there is a lot of like website or this kind of design which is purely just background and foreground, which are not really related. But this one brighter looks good.
Yeah. So what I did right now, I actually just made 2 key lights. I just copy pasted the key light, so it's has doubled the intensity, and therefore it gets much better. What I want to show now is some basic things you can do in the post processing. So for example, we go to this comp, you will see for example, we can adjust the depth of field also in the compositing, and what you can do there is you can set a focus point. And I think that's a good image. That looks really good. So because here we can show something. So let's, for example, you wanted to focus on this part here, on the front part. You go here, select focal point, and then it makes a new keyframe. And then you can see here, maybe go a bit more into this. And then here we have a focal point, and then we go to here. So I make it more obvious, because now it's not that much depth of field, but to make it very obvious, we crank it up a bit. And now you can see just that part here is in focus. So if we go back.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, so not just that is in focus. And what I'm also using is not just the depth of field, it's also a motion blur. So here, basically the faster the motion is, the more motion blur. You won't see it in the final video, but it's something when a camera has a camera always have a shutter speed, and then the motion will be blurred. So I think we cannot really show it in real time now, but try to. That's the first part where you see the headphone coming into the image, and obviously that has to be a bit with a motion blur. That's an effect that you will not see later. Like it's really to make it look like it is done with a physical camera. So you have all of these things you can add in the compositing, and the nice thing about it is if you think it must be more motion blur or less motion blur, it's very easy to. Yeah, here you see the first few frames. It takes some time to render this, but so that was the motion blur. And so what else should we show in the compositing? Is there something else we want to show?
Currently for this project we don't have.
Yeah, I think that was basically the
That's
main.
already great. That's already great.
Yeah, I think so. So here we will see actually some motion blur and some depth of field, and that makes it actually, I think it makes it looks very realistic, and that's
yes.
That's what we actually want to do. Okay, great. Do you think that was good enough?
Yeah, I think so. I think good enough already.
Okay. Thank you for watching the video. If you have any questions, leave a comment or contact us directly. So, have a good day.